Welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your Quizmaster, Sean. And boy, do I have questions for you about the 1940s. Europe. Let's see what we know and remember, shall we? And have a little fun while doing it. Let's begin. During World War II, what was the main job of women in the Women's Army? Was it clerical? Was it nursing? Or was it communication? And the main job was clerical. Which 1942 organization encouraged American women to support the war effort at home? The Women's Army Corps, the United Service Organizations, or the Office of Civilian Defense? It was the Office of Civilian Defense. Which symbol of a woman in a red bandana flexing her arm became iconic during World War II? Was it Liberty Bell, Victory Garden, or Rosie the Riveter? And that iconic photo was Rosie the Riveter. Which U.S. military branch formed the WAVES program for women during World War II? The Army, the Navy, or was it the Air Force? And that military branch was the Navy. During World War II, what jobs did American women perform in factories? Were they welding? Were they teaching? Or were they manufacturing? And they were manufacturing. What was the large-scale agricultural initiative in the UK, where women replaced male farm workers during the war? Were they the Land Girls, the Women's Land Army, or was it the Rosie the Riveter campaign? It was the Women's Land Army. Which country saw a rise in women entering the workforce during the 1940s due to wartime labor shortages? Was it Canada, the United States, or the United Kingdom? It was the United States. In which field did the Women's Royal Naval Service, the WRNS, serve during World War II? Was it nursing, engineering, or communications? It was communications. Which U.S. program, established in 1943, allowed women to fly military aircraft to bases? Was it the Air Women's Division, the Women in the Air Corps, or was it the Women's Air Force Service Pilots? It was the Women's Air Force Service Pilots. What title was given to women who joined the workforce to provide war supplies during World War II? Were they the foremen, the riveters, or soldiers? They were the riveters. Which 1940s campaign encouraged women to recycle materials for the war effort? The Victory Gardens, Salvation for Victory, or the War Bonds campaign? It was Salvage for Victory. Which country organized the Australian Women's Army Service, AWAS, during World War II? Was it Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa? Well, that's too easy, right? Australia. What term described the British Women's Service supporting the Air Force during World War II? The Women's Air Force Service, the Women's Royal Air Corps, or was it the Women's Auxiliary Air Force? It was the Women's Auxiliary Air Force. In what role did women primarily serve in the Soviet Union's military during World War II? Were they medics, were they nurses, or were they snipers? The Soviet Union used women as snipers. What was the focus of the Office of War Information's Women in War Work campaign in the 1940s? Was it training, mobilization, or recruiting? And it was mobilization. Which industries saw a rise in female workers during World War II, especially in military production? Was it retail, agriculture, or was it manufacturing? It was in manufacturing. Which 1940s organization encouraged women to join the workforce and provided child care services? The Lanham Act of 1940, the United Service Organizations, or the National Women's Trade Union League? It was the Lanham Act of 1940. What type of campaigns did the U.S. government use in the 1940s to promote women in industrial jobs? Radio, posters, or newspapers? And it was posters. Which U.S. service branch established a women's division during World War II for administrative roles? Was it the Women's Reserve, the Women's Army Corps, or the Women Air Force Service Pilots? It was Women's Reserve. Which profession saw a rise in women workers during World War II, including machinists and welders? Industrial, educational, or manufacturing? And that would be manufacturing. Which secret mission, codenamed Operation Bodyguard, aimed to mislead the Germans about D-Day's location? Operation Overlord, Operation Sea Lion, or Operation Bodyguard? Operation Bodyguard. Again, too easy. In which secret operation did the Allies plan the assassination of Nazi officials in Norway? Operation Valkyrie, Operation Anthropoid, or Operation Gunnerside? And that was Operation Gunnerside. What was a top-secret U.S. project to create the first nuclear weapons during World War II? Was that the Enigma Project, the Trinity Project, or was it the Manhattan Project? And that would be the Manhattan Project. Which operation involved the British SOE sending agents into Nazi-occupied Europe? Operation Torch, Operation Jedburgh, or Operation Market Garden? And that was Operation Jedburgh. During which covert mission did the British send gliders to destroy a German radar station in 1942? Operation Overlord, Operation Chastise, or Operation Biting? And that was Operation Biting. Which operation involved the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, known as, was it Valkyrie, Bernard, or Anthropoid? Anthropoid. And that was Operation Anthropoid. What secret mission targeted Germany's heavy water plant in Norway to sabotage its nuclear program? Was it Paperclip, Fortitude, or Gunnerside? And that was Gunnerside. Which British Royal Navy operation aimed to sink the German battleship Tirpitz? Was it Operation Chariot, Operation Overlord, or Operation Tungsten? And that was Operation Tungsten. What was the purpose of Operation Mincemeat, a British deception operation? To sink the German battleship Tirpitz, to sabotage German military communications, or to mislead the Germans about the location of the D-Day invasion? and that was to mislead the Germans about the location of the D-Day invasion. In which mission did the Allies attempt to capture the Enigma machine from a German U-boat? Operation Sea Lion, Operation Drumbeat, or Operation Primrose? And that was Operation Primrose. What was a British SOE's secret operation that targeted to destroy Nazi infrastructure? Overlord, Jedburgh, or Anthropoid? And that secret operation was Jedburgh. What was the code name for the mission where Allied forces airlifted supplies over the hump to Chinese forces? Operation Flying Tiger, Operation Hailstone, or Operation Matterhorn? And that was Operation Matterhorn. Which operation involved recruiting German scientists, including V-2 rocket experts, after World War II? Operation Valkyrie, Operation Crossbow, or Operation Paperclip? And that was Operation Paperclip. In Operation Chastise, which structures did the Royal Air Force target using bouncing bombs? Dams, factories, or railways? And they targeted dams. Which mission aimed to capture German scientists developing advanced weaponry? Operation Alsace, Operation Overlord, or Operation Paperclip? And that was Operation Alsace. Which OSS operation infiltrated enemy lines in Burma to gather intelligence on Japanese movements? OSS Detachment 101, OSS Operation Torch, or OSS Operation Paperclip? It was OSS Detachment 101. Which operation helped decode Japanese communications for the Battle of Midway? Operation Magic, Operation Valkyrie, or was it Operation Market Garden? It was Operation Magic. Which of these missions was an attempt to kill Hitler? Was it Hydra? Was it Cicero? Or was it Valkyrie? It was Valkyrie. What was a secret operation in which British forces captured a German radar device from a crashed plane? Operation Ultra, Operation Hydra, or was it Operation Biting? It was Operation Biting. Which secret mission involved the U.S. Army Air Forces carrying out a daring bombing raid over Tokyo in 1942? Was it Hydra, Chastise, or Doolittle? It was Mission Doolittle. Which American artist created the Four Freedoms series to promote war bonds? Was that Andy Warhol, Jackson Pollock, or was it Norman Rockwell? And that was Norman Rockwell. Which animated character did Disney use in 1940s war bond advertisements? Goofy, Donald Duck, or Mickey Mouse? Disney used Donald Duck to sell war bonds. What was the British ministry responsible for creating propaganda during World War II? The Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Information, or was it the Ministry of Propaganda? It was the Ministry of Information. Which post-World War II U.S. art movement was known for abstract forms and emotional intensity? Was it Cubism, Surrealism, or Abstract Expressionism. And that movement was abstract expressionism. What was the purpose of the Why We Fight propaganda campaign directed by Frank Capra? To promote wartime unity, to boost morale through entertainment, or to explain U.S. involvement in World War II? And that was to explain U.S. involvement in World War II. Which Nazi minister was responsible for using media to promote Nazi ideology? Rudolf Hess? Or was it Heinrich Himmler? Or Joseph Goebbels? It was Joseph Goebbels. What was the message of the American wartime poster with the slogan, "Loose lips might sink ships"? To recruit women into the workforce? To encourage support for war bonds? To promote the importance of secrecy to protect military operations? To promote the importance of secrecy to protect military operations. What was the name of the Soviet propaganda campaign symbolized by a woman with a scythe? Collectivization, Stakhanovism, or the Motherland Calls? And that symbolized Stakhanovism. Which wartime slogan, commonly used in American propaganda posters, emphasized the need for civilian rationing and resource conservation during World War II? Save for victory, victory starts at home, or do with less so they'll have enough? Do with less so they'll have enough. Which organization in Japan produced propaganda films to support the war effort? The Imperial Film Bureau, the Dainippon Film Association, or Japan National Broadcasting Corporation? And that was the Dainippon Film Association. Which British cartoon character satirized Nazi leaders to boost morale? Was it Pug, Colonel Blimp, or Winston the Bulldog? And that was Colonel Blimp. Which U.S. agency oversaw wartime propaganda in 1942? Was it the CIA, the FBI, or the OWI? Overseeing wartime propaganda for the U.S. was the OWI. Which phrase encouraged British resilience during the Blitz? Hold the line. Was it stay strong and fight? Or was it keep calm and carry on? Keep calm and carry on. What was the theme of the Soviet film Alexander Nevsky by Sergei Eisenstein? Was it bravery, victory, or was it about patriotism? The film was about patriotism. Which American comic book character created during World War II symbolized the fight against fascism? Was it Batman? Was it Superman? Or was it Captain America? It was Captain America. Which British leader was featured in the 1940s propaganda posters with "Let us go forward together"? Was it King George VI? Was it Clement Attlee? Or was it Winston Churchill? It was Winston Churchill. Which propaganda poster with Uncle Sam was revived during World War II to encourage enlistment? We can do it. I want you for the U.S. Army. Or keep calm and carry on. I want you for the U.S. Army. Which Soviet artist used photo montage for powerful World War II propaganda posters? L. Lisinski, Vasily Kandinsky, or Alexander Rodchenko? and it was Alexander Rodchenko. What was the American campaign using animated films to educate soldiers during World War II? This is the Army, Private Snafu, or the World at War? And that campaign was Private Snafu. In which country was the Do Your Part campaign launched during World War II? Was that the USA? Was it Britain? Or was it Germany? Do Your Part. That was a campaign in the United States of America. What type of garden was promoted by the U.S. government during the 1940s to boost food production on the home front? Was it U.S. garden, food garden, or was it victory garden? The U.S. government promoted planting victory gardens. What was the name of the U.S. campaign encouraging material donations during World War II? Scrap for Victory, War Materials Drive, or was it Salvage for Victory? It was Salvage for Victory. Which U.S. organization was responsible for rationing goods during World War II? War Production Board, Federal Rationing Bureau, or Office of Price Administration? It was the Office of Price Administration. What term described American women who took on jobs vacated by men during World War II? Were they rosies? Were they riveters? Or munitions? And they were called rosies. Which 1945 conference established the framework for the post-war world and led to the creation of the United Nations? The Tehran Conference, the Potsdam Conference, or the San Francisco Conference? It was the San Francisco Conference. Which international policy was announced by the United States in 1947 to contain the spread of communism during the Cold War? Was it the Berlin Airlift, the Marshall Plan, or was it the Truman Doctrine? It was the Truman Doctrine. What was the name of the U.S. volunteer organization providing entertainment to troops through performances by celebrities? The American Legion, the American Red Cross, or was it the United Service Organizations? It was the USO. Which U.S. campaign encouraged reducing consumption to support the military? Was it saving, limiting, or was it rationing? And that campaign was rationing. In Britain, what term referred to volunteers enforcing blackout rules during air raids? Were they Rangers, Sentinels, or Wardens? And they were air raid wardens. Which material was collected from American households for explosives during World War II? Were they collecting fat, oil, or plastic? They were collecting fat. What was the government-issued book with stamps for ration goods during World War II? Were they called the War Card, Liberty Book, or Ration Book? And those were ration books. Which U.S. project relocated Japanese Americans to internment camps during World War II? The New Deal, the Manhattan Project, or Executive Order 9066? That was Executive Order 9066. Which British slogan encouraged recycling materials for the war effort? Dig for victory, make do and mend, or waste not, want not? And that British slogan was, waste not, want not. What term described short messages written on bombs by American workers during World War II? Crater claims? Were they victory notes? Or were they pin-up messages? Those were pin-up messages. Which currency was introduced for U.S. soldiers abroad to prevent inflation? Were they war bonds, victory coins, or military script? They were spending military script. What term describes American children's efforts to collect metal for the war effort? Were they scrap drives, victory collections, or home front campaigns? Those were scrap drives. What was the American campaign promoting conservation through carpools and public transport? Share the ride, Ride for Freedom, or was it called Victory Transport Initiative? And it was Share the Ride. Which 1940s children's toy was made from scrap rubber collected for the war effort? Was it a ball, a plane, or was it a yo-yo? And from scrap rubber they made yo-yos. What were the government-issued pamphlets with instructions for air raid preparation? A survival manual? The Civil Defense Handbook? Or was it the air raid precautions booklets? And they were the air raid precautions booklets. What type of American film boosted morale and educated about the war effort during World War II? Training films, documentary films, or were they propaganda films? And those were propaganda films. Which 1940s technological innovation helped break encrypted German messages during World War II? The bomb? Was it the Colossus? Or was it the Enigma machine? It was the bomba. Which 1940s aircraft was the first operational jet-powered fighter in World War II? Was it the Gloucester Meteor, the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star, or the Messerschmitt Me-262? It was the Messerschmitt Me-262. What was the 1940s project that led to the atomic bomb's development? Was it the Trinity Test, Operation Overlord, or was it the Manhattan Project? It was the Manhattan Project. Which 1940s radar innovation enhanced Allied detection of enemy aircraft and ships? Was it the radar, the sonar, or the magnetron? And that was the magnetron. Which 1940s invention enabled mass production of penicillin, reducing battlefield mortality? Was it mold? Was it the antibiotic? Or was it fermentation? That invention was fermentation. What was the specialized boot used during D-Day to carry troops and vehicles onto the beach? Was it the Higgins boat? Was it the D-Day transport? Or was it assault landing craft? Its technical name was the Higgins boat. Which 1940s U.S. bomber carried out extensive bombing campaigns over Japan? The B-24 Liberator, the B-25 Mitchell, or the B-29 Superfortress? It was the B-29 Super Fortress. Which 1940s handheld anti-tank weapon was used by Allied infantry? Was it the bazooka? Was it the Panzerfaust? Or was it the Panzerschreck? It was the bazooka. What was the German 1940s missile technology precursor to modern ballistic missiles? The V-3 cannon, the V-1 flying bomb, or the V-2 rocket? And that was the V-2 rocket. Which 1940s American invention revolutionized naval warfare with aircraft on ships? Was it the aircraft carrier, the Corsair fighter, or the steam catapult? And that invention was the steam catapult. Which 1940s innovation enabled submarines to detect enemy ships underwater? Was it the sonar, the hydrophone, or was it echolocation? And the 1940s innovation was the sonar. What was the name of the first American jet fighter introduced late in World War II? Was it the F-4U Corsair, the P-51 Mustang, or the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star? It was the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. Which 1940s technology allowed the Allied forces to track weather conditions over large areas? Was it radar? Was it the ability to forecast? Or was it meteorology? It was the radar. What was the name of the German magnetic mine used in World War II? Was it the Fritz X, the LMB mine, or was it the acoustic mine? And its name was the LMB mine. Which 1940s lightweight mobile artillery piece was used by British and American forces? Was it the 105mm howitzer, the 75mm pack howitzer, or the 6-pounder anti-tank gun? It was the 75mm pack howitzer. Which 1940s invention helped Allied bombers fly at higher altitudes? Was it the turbocharger, the oxygen mask, or was it the pressurized cabin? Well, to help Allied bombers fly at higher altitudes, it was the turbocharger. What was the primary fuel used in Germany's V-2 rockets during World War II? Liquid oxygen and ethanol? Was it kerosene and nitroglycerin? Or was it hydrogen peroxide and methanol? The V-2 rockets used liquid oxygen and ethanol. Which 1940s invention was a precursor to the helicopter? Was it the autogyro, the helicopter, or the gyrocopter? The precursor to the helicopter was the autogyro. Which bomb, first used by the British in World War II, bounced on water to destroy dams? Was it the bouncing bomb, the torpedo bomb, or the demolition bomb? And that was the bouncing bomb. And question number 100. Which technological advancement in cryptography from the 1940s was important to the Allies' ability to secure communications during World War II? Was it the Bombay, Enigma, or Sagaba? It was Sagaba. And that does it for me for the moment. Thanks for playing. Drop your score in the comments, please, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss quiz time when it comes out. And it comes out quite often because it's fun, and we enjoy playing this with you. Thanks for playing. We'll catch you next one. Bye-bye.